Christoph Keese is with us. Who is Christoph Keese? The most of you don't need an introduction, but he eats, dreams, and plays media and journalism. Christoph's journalistic education started at the Henry Nannen School, very famous school in Germany, started as assistant of Gruner und Jahr as a CEO, and that was not a bad start for him, followed by leading the public relations department of Gruner und Jahr, moved up to running the resort of media and economy of Gruner und Jahr, became in 2000 the co-chief editor of the Financial Times in Germany, was in 2001 promoted to chief editor of the Financial Times in Germany, was from 2004 to 2008 chief editor of Welt am Sonntag, and was chief editor of Welt Online from 2006 to 2008. Christoph then was promoted to his current job, which is running the public affairs of the Springer Empire, and he is one of the board members. Christoph also holds a Master of Economic Science, and to most important to me, like John Haggerty, Keith Reinhardt, and some others, he helped to shape the program before we opened the doors. Thanks, Christoph, and please now let's hear your words.
But congratulations, everybody. I'm really impressed because I was here before, I think, everybody else of you, except for Sebastian and Michael Conrad. I was there basically right after the moment of conception. I don't know which year, but it was in Hamburg, in the International Congress Center, which you should never visit. It has no windows. It's completely windowless. It was a conference. And after, or during the conference, Sebastian and Michael outlined the idea for this school. And I thought, what a crazy idea. I mean, opening an own school, academia, university, this is something states do, but not private people, much less the Art Directors Club does. So I was really, really stunned. But then I looked, I didn't know Michael that well at the time. He looked very serious and trustworthy. But Sebastian, at this time, I had known for 10, 15 years. And this man, you know, he's silent, he thinks reflective, he thinks what he says. He had never, coming to think of it, he had never told me a plan which did not become reality. Never. So whenever this guy tells you a plan, if he tells you a plan, I'm going to Mars in 10 years, believe him, it's going to happen. And this school took place, and I'm really stunned that you're number 3 already. It's really great. So I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. I'm very impressed. I don't know, whose computer is this?
Mine.
I like your desktop. This is very creative. I like the video. It's the perfect video exemplifying Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point. I don't know if you read the book. Mm-hmm. You can really pinpoint the frame where the tipping point effect sets in. It's really good movie. And I was really impressed by Godfather Keith Reinhardt. Let me just make 2 little remarks here. I like the Godfather book and the movie, and there's one leadership item which I took away from the book. The most important currency in life is not money, it is favor. And opposed to money, favor you pay first. You always, in the book and in the movie, the Godfather always pays favors first. It's an embarrassment for him when he's being asked when somebody else pays first. So you always give a favor to somebody else, because then you can call him and ask back for the favor in return. This is crime, of course, organized crime, but it also works in legal business. Be ahead of other people's favors. Be open-hearted. And the second remark, yes, it's true. Churchill outlined the Second World War on half a piece of paper, but he also, after it ended, wrote a 6-volume history book about it, which won him the Nobel Prize. It's a piece of literature. It's a beautiful piece of literature, and it's a great case study. Yes, you can tweet leadership in 144 characters, but you can also read the 6 volumes, thousands of pages of Churchill about the Second World War, and it's a case study on how to lead in very difficult times. One last observation. It's quite interesting in the starting video when you all described how this changed your life. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think only the women said they gained confidence. No man said, I gained confidence. I don't know. Am I right? I don't know.
We would not admit that.
Men don't admit. I would guess that also the men gained confidence, but you didn't admit. The women admitted. And when looking at it, I found it more genuine what the women said, to be quite honest. Admit more, then people will like you more. I like you guys. I completely understand you. I probably wouldn't have admitted myself, but it just makes an impact on the viewer. Now, I sense a feeling of sadness in this room because you're leaving this great experience. But at the same time, you chose to come back to school in the mid of your career, and now school is over. This is your last school day in all of your life, probably. So enjoy it. School's out. That's great. So it's not just a sad moment. School's out. And your industry needs you. I really like a quote Thomas Jefferson made, or something he said 200 years ago. He said, "The new circumstances under which we are placed call for new words, new phrases, and the transfer of old words to new objects. This is exactly true for the times we are living in our creative industries. Because everything is changing. Walls have fallen and networks have risen. Everything is digitized. Respect for intellectual property has declined. Much of what has fed our families in the past will be free for tomorrow. We all need to redefine our business to stay in business. There was a great show in the 60s. It was called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. You guys, you chose not to get off. You want to be in the game, but you also have to change the game. We have to completely reinvent our businesses. And this also means that we have to challenge old wisdom, conventional wisdom, old myth. One of the words I learned in my school for journalism in Hamburg, they always said content is king. Great, I love that story. Content is king. But why, if content is king, do people not pay us for content on the internet? Since when do we not pay the king? I just got an invitation yesterday for a technology conference, and it boldly said on the front, it said, technology is queen. Now what is true? Is content king or is technology queen? Will designers, journalists, directors, painters, artists, musicians, architects, will we define the markets of tomorrow? Or will it be engineers, search engine engineers, programmers, data miners? Will what we do be a giveaway that people receive when they sign up the next DSL contract, when they go on the internet? Everything we do is for free, and the only ones making money on it will be the access providers. Will we fall back centuries to times when artists like us went to the king to ask for money? I hope not, but it could happen. It happened to music. It will happen to film. It is happening to journalism. It can happen to advertisement. It can also happen to airlines and automotive. Some of you come from traditional industries. And just ask yourself, how much of the euro you're asking for your product can be done by wikis for free, can be solved by consumers talking among themselves, can be shipped to India, or can be given away for free by your competitor who is struggling to survive. Even traditional industries will be put under a lot of financial pressures by the internet. But how can we be different? We have to think in new ways. Much of the things we have learned in the past are not true anymore. Let me just name a few more myths that our industry believes in and which we should challenge much more than we have in the past. I mentioned one, content is king. Another one, which I hear very often from managing directors. I know nothing about technology and I'm proud of it. This you hear so many times. When a technology matter comes along, they delegate it to the IT guy, but they don't take care of it themselves. Technology is for nerds. You hear many times. Many times we hear, we know more than our consumers. We, as journalists, think we know it much better than our reader. This is why we write a leader and sell it to the people. Why would they pay for it if we didn't know it better? So we think we're much better than our consumer. Maybe it's not true. Another saying is, my customer knows that 50% of his advertisement spending is wasted, but he doesn't do anything because he cannot do anything about it. This is not true anymore. They will do, and they are doing things about it. Another truism, which is not true anymore, no price and no value. If you don't have a price on it, people will not see a value in it. But Google proves the opposite. It doesn't have a price, but people see great value in it. You are creative people. I see myself as a creative person myself. So how do our minds work? My mind works by association. Business minds work by deduction. We rearrange reality in surprising ways. Business people organize reality to avoid surprises. Creative people get excited on details. Business people want the full picture. Creative people like myself, we like prospects. And business people, they like results. And to be quite honest, creative people don't like business people too much. And the same is true the other way around. And what are you doing now? You're trying to be both at the very same time. This is pretty difficult because you're opening your mind to a completely new experience which you have not lived through in the past. You have to be much more analytical. You have to analyze. And Doug has just mentioned how important analysis is. Without very strong analysis, it won't work. Our company is run by a CEO who has a master, a degree in musicology. He is a trained journalist, but he entered business life pretty early in his life and picked up the necessary skills. So in everyday life, I see a person that has managed to combine. And this is very inspiring. This is very inspiring for creative people like Pitt and me, trying to go down the same route. But it's also, and this is very interesting, inspiring for the business people, because they all of a sudden fear reading books is important. Reading poetry is important. You must have seen a movie, because if you don't read books, if you don't go to the movie house, you are not able to communicate with your CEO. This is very important. What do? They all of a sudden start listening to music. They all of a sudden read books. They all of a sudden get into the cultural arena. This is fascinating. A whole organization can be transformed by the inspiring role model. And it works. And coming to Michael Conrad, if you excuse, this guy, as far as I read, I don't, is it true you were born in a small and humble flat in Leipzig?
In Leipzig, yeah.
In Leipzig, yes. And you ran one of the most important ad agencies out of Chicago. This is the man who put Kellogg's and the Marlboro Man in our minds. He writes brilliant copy. He is a good singer. Have you sung for this group? Yes, you have many times. Have
Not
you?
here.
Okay. Has he?
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure you do have to do it. It's really impressive. At Sebastian's wedding, he stood up, picked up his guitar, and he goes on stage. Michael Conrad goes on stage, and all of a sudden, he's Johnny Cash. No kidding. His voice is Johnny Cash. He defines strategy, he gives guidance, and he radiates warmth. I don't know what you feel towards Michael Conrad, but to be quite honest, my feelings are, I would like to work for this man. I have worked with Sebastian, but for you, I would like to work. Okay. This is the ultimate test of leadership. Do people like to work for you? This is the ultimate test. If there's one question, do people like to work for you? They have to work for you, but do they like to work for you? They like to work for you when they feel safe, when they trust you, and when they admire you. That is very, very difficult to achieve. Many bosses make one big mistake. They see their people as a competitor. They try to out-achieve them. They try to be better better than them. But a leader is not a competitor. He is a superior. His qualities are superior. He does not compete with people. There's a beautiful sentence in a Shakespeare play called The Twelfth Night. There's a character called Malvolio, and he says, quote, "Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them." And this is what leaders do. Don't compete with the people, thrust greatness upon them. This will make you much bigger. And to sum up, there is, as I read, only 1% of top business people have a creative background. This has to change. Really, when we go into retirement, it has to be 5%, okay?
Unbelievable.
I don't want to be ruled only by engineers, lawyers, and merchants. No. We should govern ourselves, but we need qualifications. Being good in creativity doesn't mean you're good in business. So let's make this 5%. So where are our peers? One of our peers is Michael Conrad, Sebastian Turner, but the other one is Steve Jobs. You all know him, but here's a beautiful Steve Jobs quote. In most people's vocabularies, he says, design means veneer, Furnier auf Deutsch. It's interior decorating. It's the fabric of the curtains of the sofa. But to me, Steve Jobs, nothing could be further from the meaning of design. Design is the fundamental soul of a human-made creation that ends up expressing itself in successive outer layers of the product or service. Now, this man is an artist gone executive. Let me just read the names of a few products that he has introduced in his lifetime. It's one single life. Lisa, Apple II, Macintosh, iMac, MacBook, iPhone, iPad, iTunes, App Store, Pixar, Toy Story, Nemo, Cars, Up. This is one lifetime. Which lawyer, engineer, or merchant could have achieved this? This can be done only by creative people having the skills to run great companies. It's by you. Thank you very much.